In this video we're going to show you several examples of single story rear extensions that you can carry out to your home right now without needing planning. Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Kev. I'm an architectural designer and party wall surveyor with 25 years experience in the UK construction industry. In this channel I will help you to understand everything that you need to know when it comes to extending or converting your home. Okay, let's jump straight into the video. Now with rear extensions there's so much that can be done without requiring planning permission. This is because you can make use of something called your permitted development rights. These rights allow you to alter or extend your home in many ways, and we'll discuss the various ones in other videos, but for today we're just going to concentrate on single story rear extensions. Okay, so first of all let's take a look at the permitted development guidelines for rear extensions. Afterwards I'll show you some examples of extensions you can do to your home that fit within these rules. Perhaps the most important rules that we need to abide by are the ones that relate to the size of the extension. Now the maximum depth for your rear extension will be 4 metres if you live in a detached property, or 3 metres for a semi-detached or terraced property. The maximum height for your eaves, which is your soffits etc. that has your gutter in, can be no more than 3 metres from ground level, and the highest point of the roof could be no higher than 4 metres from ground level. There are of course other restrictions that come into play as well, but we'll discuss those later on in the video. For now, let's just concentrate on the size measurements. First up we have this single story rear extension. As you will see, it's got a monopitched roof, panoramic doors and 3 skylights. The first thing to note is that we've gone full width with this extension, and by full width I mean the extension covers the whole width of the house. Now provided the entire width is the original house, then there are no limits on the maximum width for your extension under permitted development. However, I emphasise the term original house. What this basically means is that if you or a previous owner have added a side extension at some point after the 1st of July 1948, then you cannot extend on the back of that extension unless you apply for planning permission. I will show you an example of this shortly, but for now let's get back to the image shown on this video. Right, so with this extension we've drawn the eaves height at 2.5 metres, which is well below the 3 metres allowed under permitted development, and the maximum height of the roof is just under 3.5 metres, which again is well below the 4 metres maximum. As this is a fully detached house, we were allowed to go out a maximum of 4 metres, however in this instance we've only extended out 3.5. The reason being was that the overall measurement from ground to the underside of the first floor windowsills was just 3.6 metres, which means that had we have extended the full 4 metres, our roof pitch would have been less than 15 degrees. Now why does the pitch of the roof matter? Well, for planning or permitted development it doesn't. However, if you install a roof that's got a pitch that's less than 15 degrees, then you will invalidate the warranty issued by most roof tile and skylight manufacturers. There are roof tile manufacturers that produce roof tiles for shallow pitched roofs. However, they generally need to be overlapped considerably more than conventional tiles. What this means is that you're going to require more tiles to cover the same area, adding unnecessary costs as well of course as the additional weight that you're going to be adding to the roof structure. And there are of course some skylight manufacturers that produce skylights designed for shallow pitched roofs. However, these tend to be fixed units that cannot be opened. So if you're looking to install skylights that can be opened, i.e. Velux etc., then you need to ensure that your roof pitch is greater than 15 degrees to ensure that you don't get any leaks. So assuming you live in a detached house like this one, and the first floor windows are too low to have a 15 degree pitch, but you really want to extend the full 4 metres, what options do you have? Well, the obvious one is to go for a flat roof extension of course. The other option would be to incorporate a combination roof like the one shown here. Now this combination roof has a small flat area close to the junction with the rear wall of the house. This flat section can be finished in rubber, fiberglass or even lead. Before we take a look at the extensions that you can't carry out under your permitted development rights, it's worth noting that you can now actually extend up to 8 metres for a detached property or 6 metres for a semi-detached or terraced house. This can be achieved under something called prior approval. Now we won't go into that in this video, but I'll leave a link in the description to a video where I discuss the prior approval process. So let's take a look at some extensions that would require planning consent. In this first example we've carried the single story rear extension past the side wall of the original house, and therefore this will be classified as a single story side and rear extension. Therefore this one would require planning consent. In this second example we have the same single story extension, however on this occasion it's been designed to extend off the back of an existing 2-story side extension. Because this two-storey side extension was not part of the original house, this would also be classified as a side and rear extension, and therefore you would need planning consent for this one. So we've already touched upon the size requirements for permitted development, but let's run through the rest of the requirements. The first one is that materials must match those of the existing house. Now this one is huge. It's probably the most overlooked rule in the Permitted Development Act and is responsible for so many retrospective plan applications because people have just simply not picked up on it. What it basically means is that if your house is finished in facing brickwork, your extension must also be in facing brickwork. Likewise, if you've got a rendered property, then your extension would need to be rendered. So if you've got a brick house and you want to put a rendered extension on there, that would not be permitted development. You would need planning consent for that. And vice versa, if you had a rendered house and you wanted to put a brick extension on there, that would need planning consent. And next up, no balconies, verandas or raised platforms. What that basically means is if you've got a flat roof extension, you cannot turn it into a roof terrace. If you wanted to, you would need planning permission, and you probably wouldn't be very popular with your neighbours. If your property is on designated land, and what that means is if it's in a conservation area, an area of outstanding natural beauty, or is adjacent to a listed building, then you may have restricted or even no permitted development rights on your property. In any of these circumstances, it's certainly going to be worth contacting your local authority planning department just to make sure that you have got permitted development rights on your property before you embark on any of these projects. Okay, so next up, your extension cannot take up more than 50% of your garden and overall curtilage area. It's important to remember that if you've got any extensions or outbuildings on your property, these must be included within the 50% calculation. Okay, so one final thing that shouldn't be overlooked is that your property may have had its permitted development rights removed under an Article 4 direction. Lots of new builds have had their permitted development rights removed under an Article 4 direction. Therefore, if you live in a newer house, it's worth checking that you have got your PD rights still. It's worth noting that it's not just new builds that fall foul of the Article 4 direction, however. There can be all manner of restrictions on a property that can create an Article 4 direction. We've come across them with parking permits, for example, where they put an Article 4 direction in place purely to stop people from converting their garages under their permitted development rights. So it's always worth carrying out this check. If in doubt, we would always suggest that you apply for a lawful development certificate from your council. What this basically is it's a legal document to say that the council have looked at your scheme and your plans of what it is you're looking to propose, and that they concur that planning permission wasn't needed. For this, you'd normally send a set of drawings together with a fee, at the time of this video is £126, into planning. The planning officer would take a look at the drawings and then they would issue the certificate if they agree that planning permission wasn't needed for your build. This certificate can come in especially handy should you come to sell the property and a buyer solicitor is requesting proof that the extension is lawful. And there you have it, permitted development for rear extensions. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you've got any questions, please drop them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them as best I can. Thanks for watching.